How's it going, everybody? About a month ago, I started this journey making a new account, and in doing so, we discovered a lot of problems that were in the game. We started reaching out to developers, and it ended up with a meeting with not just myself and the developers, but also a bunch of other content creators. So in this video, we're going to talk about the details from that conversation and a new upcoming resource for characters, tokens. If you just want to hear about tokens, check out the timestamps because it is kind of the most important thing, and it may be the only thing you're interested in if you're a current endgame player. So make sure you check out timestamps to save yourself time. But for everybody else, let's get into it. So the first thing that was brought up in the meeting was the Band-Aid solution to Scourges and how they intend to deal with that problem 6 months from now when people may not want to build Hivemind anymore, definitely won't want to build Pegasus or Bifrost anymore. So how are they going to handle that situation when it comes 6 months down the road? And the developer's answer was very simple. We're just going to do the same thing again. This was called a Band-Aid solution. I think this is not a Band-Aid solution. I think this is a great solution. This is a structural change to how they're going to operate the Scourges. They will, every 6 to 8 months or whatever the time frame is, they will update the tags needed for those blocking nodes to more relevant teams. And I think that is the best thing that they could do. Like, for the old legendaries, we used to have to build up Pim Tech for Jubilee. That absolutely sucked, and it was that way for years and years and years. So to say this is a Band-Aid solution, I think, is wrong. I think this is a good structural change. When they add those new tags in, it's good for everybody. It doesn't matter to endgame players like myself who have those characters max. It's good for mid-game players who are working on it. And it gives new players a better idea of who they should build. They shouldn't tank resources into Pim Tech to get Jubilee unlocked. Or they shouldn't, let's go even further. They shouldn't tank resources into Web Warriors. They get Morgan Le Fay unlocked, so they can eventually get Apocalypse unlocked. It's just a much better way to do the system, and I'm glad for it. And I hope they do the same thing for Trials. I think they will. I think Trials are probably a little bit too new for them to consider doing that. But maybe 4 or 5 months from now, they'll do that for Trials. It'd be interesting to keep an eye on that one. But if they're doing it for Scourges, they have no excuse not to do it for Trials. So I think that's interesting. So that's going to affect some of you mid-game players. Let me know what you guys feel about that. Did you like that Band-Aid solution? Or is that just a good structural change for them to keep going into? Like, Omega Red shouldn't be unlocked with Secret Avengers. You should be able to use Secret Defenders or something, right? Come on. Alright, the next and possibly biggest topic we had for the new and mid-game player experience was about blue and purple gear and ability material. So they're aware of the issue, and they're looking at possible changes. However, they have concerns of new players skipping the learning phase of the early game. If this was a one-on-one conversation, this is probably would have been the entire interview for me, because I do not think that is an acceptable answer when we're talking about blue or purple gear and ability material. So what I want to do quickly is I want to bring you in game right now. This is my baby account. I'm level 60. I'm 35 days in. I'm running the Alliance, so it's very efficient. But even if it wasn't efficient, eventually you're going to jump up and you're going to start doing Ultimate 7. It's very easy. With the Sinister 16, which is the premier starting team, you can do it on big punch-ups. Like if you have a 100k Sinister 16, you can start doing this, which happens very quickly when we have all these new progression paths. We have ISO. Red stars are so much more available now. We farm things faster now. Like this game is moving a lot faster in the early game, which is great. But it can't move so fast that you blow by blue gear and then you're hitting purple gear, but then you go to the next character to go into purple gear and you're like, oh, I can't do anything on this character because I have no blue gear and I have no blue ability materials. Because if you look at the Ultimate 7 rewards, there is no blue gear in sight. You actually have to drop down and do Ultimate 6. This sort of backwards progression to try and keep up with the ability materials, and this, like 100 ability materials is not enough for a full character. So you're going to spend multiple days in here so that your players in your alliance, your new players, can actually get by their blue ability material issues, or they got to buy it. This is it's awful. This is like having to spend money every single time a new character comes out to skip an expansion that happened 3 years before you started playing. This is a absolutely horrible experience. I think that was a really bad excuse they gave. I hope they drop it immediately. I brought up a bunch of issues, a bunch of places where they can absolutely put some more blue gear. So if we look at the opening milestones here, you're getting 1 blue gear raid orb fragment per opening milestone. Now for the raid milestones, they have milestones 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Sorry, all the way up to 8 is all 1 blue gear and then 2 empty item slots. Why is there not 30 blue gear orbs in there? So that every 2 weeks they're getting 240 blue gear orbs. That's what it should be. Why is there not 100, 200, 300 blue ability materials in there, so they're getting 1,600 every 2 weeks, so that they can bring the like blue ability materials and gear should not be the issue. If it should just be in raids. Because once you start doing Ultimate 7, that is when you're starting to clear all the way up to the milestones that you see we're currently clearing. When you're doing Ultimates 5, Ultimates 4, 3, 2, 1, you're lucky if you clear Milestone 1. You're lucky if you clear Milestone 1. This is such an easy, no-brainer solution. I hope if they're watching this, like I didn't get to pop off in the chat. It would have been an inappropriate time to pop off. I wish I could have had one-on-one. I asked for one-on-one a long time ago, but it never manifested. Blue gear can't be a part of the early game anymore. Blue ability materials cannot be a part of the early game anymore. Especially, it can't then bleed into the mid game and have your players that are capable of doing the Doom raids or the low-level incursion raids, and they're going back to do Ultimate 6 to get blue ability material, and their entire alliance has to suffer through it with them? That is absolutely an atrocious design, and they absolutely need to change it. There's also a million other places that they could put this blue gear and ability material. They can start putting blue ability material on the early campaign nodes where you're farming those characters. They have multiple milestone spots that they can put it in. Again, this empty circle at milestone 35, you have 3 pieces of gear, and you have an empty item cycle in there. Instead of putting on milestone 35, because that would be silly, in milestones 1, oh my god, come on. We're getting 6 ability orb fragments. 6 orbs. So that's 6, 12, 18, and then you're done for the month? Do you know how much is in those orbs? You're lucky to get 40. That's 1 ability for 1 character. This is really, really bad design. I really, truly hope they change it. You should never have to question if you have the blue gear or blue ability material to build your characters up when your account level is in the 60s, let alone the 70s or 80s, and you're doing the Doom raid or the Incursion raid. This is absolutely atrocious. And I couldn't believe when I heard, like, we don't want to drop them in a place they're not going to understand. Blue gear and purple gear are the exact same thing. It's just gear, it's just the ability materials. You're just moving on in the progression system. Blue gear, we go by it so fast. That's not part of the learning curve. It's part of an anti-learning curve. How are they going to know that that's where they have to go back to get that gear? They're not until they research it or until they drop the game. I thought it was the stupidest answer I ever got. I'm sorry if I'm getting a little inflamed. I don't want to get too heated because I hope they watch this and understand this comes from a place of passion where I want things to get better. And blue gear and ability materials, even purple gear and ability materials, like orange is just an extension of that, right? We're currently in teal. We're talking 2, 3, 4 expansions ago in terms of like gaming industry stuff. Like it's ridiculous to me, and I really, really hope they address it. But let's go talk about the next topic. I'm just going to get too heated. All right, the website has grown in importance so much. There are 5, sometimes 6 free claim options in there. There are web milestones that are in there. Like full events are sometimes dictated by your participation in the web milestone event, and to get new players to get over there is very difficult. Now, they once upon a time put like a link that brought people directly to the website, and apparently that's a big issue for the like Google Play Store or whatever, and for the Amazon store, and for ISO, the Apple Store, in a big way, because obviously those companies, they don't want those players leaving the in-game part where they get a cut of the pie to a website where they won't get the cut of the pie if you buy from the website, right? So they are unable to put direct links in. They could get just taken out of the store. So none of us want that. We want the game to do better and to be better and to just grow. So they have to come up with a more clever solution. Now they're working on that. They're looking at ways to get new players to the website so they aren't missing out on these very important rewards and the free claims. And to do so, they're thinking about some promo codes can get players there. They now have a Discord pop up. They'll be like, hey, come join the Discord. You'll find a lot of information in the Discord. They need to start promoting the web store. And then us content creators, like, it's on us too. Like, hey, when we do our event videos, be like, hey, make sure you're going to the web store. Go to the web store. If you're not going to the web store, you may not complete the monthly event. Like, there's so much goodies. There's so much free stuff in there that'll help boost your account. Yeah, so just getting players to understand the website's importance and getting them used to going on there to claim the free stuff and to claim their milestones. That premium order a day is really big for a new account from the just spend 50 core milestone. That's important, and it is something that they're working on, so that's good. That was something that I believe Mobile Gamer brought up, because it was like his wife started playing the game, and you can really feel the importance when you're a new player and you're going in there and you're seeing all the free stuff you're given, like Mr. Negative, a gold orb a day. There was lots of Gwen orbs here, the monthly items. There's some good stuff to get on the web store every single day for free. All right, another extremely big issue that I had my finger on the pulse of for quite a while was the alliance and account leveling. This is also going to dip into the Stark Tech conversation. So they are old systems and they're hard to work on, apparently, given the old implementation. So it's hard for them to try and fix it, but they are aware that these are problems and they're looking at possible solutions. Just changing some of the gates on these things. So if we go in game real quick and we go to Stark Tech, now you'll see Stark Tech, there's 25 points total. Your alliance needs to be a certain level to even participate in it. But, and I haven't spent my Stark Tech in, I don't know, a week. I have 1,400 or 1,500 points. I now have the Extreme team. I'm trying to work on them, so I'm going to spend these points here. And once I do, as you can see, the price gets exponentially more and more expensive. I'm almost caught up at this part where I max out at level, what is this, level 7 I'm on right now. You got to go up to 25, and because the price tag for each individual upgrade grows as you progress, and you got to do all 5 tags, this endeavor takes about a year to get through, and that's really bad. This is not something that should be the case anymore. Stark Tech, I don't know if they ever planned on doing something with Stark Tech, but it is definitely a dead system now. So they're looking at doing it, but apparently just messing with Stark Tech is a really big endeavor. My suggestion to them was just cut these costs by a factor of 10. If they can get in there and instead of it costing 80, make it cost 8, instead of costing 130, make it cost 13, that would be easy. They can't really mess with the amount of Stark Tech they give us. I don't think I can see it yet. But in the War Store, on your main account, you go down here, you can see that there's ways to spend your Stark Tech. So I understand the apprehension with changing things there, but there's something that's got to give because that's 25%. It takes a year for these new players to get. I don't think it makes any sense for that. I just don't. I'd be interested to know what you guys' thoughts on there on. But there's also other gates. So I've currently unlocked it. Now, Alliance War, you unlock it at account level 45, which 45 doesn't take too long to hit. I still think it should be sooner, probably around level 35. The base teams that you get in there, that's what we've been facing the last 3 wars. And that's an okay experience, by the way. Like, for our new accounts going in and we're never facing any real opponents, we're only facing these shield carrier defenses, that's perfectly fine. Because they're all around 3,000 power. Now, day 2, you'll have a bunch of characters at 3,000 power, interestingly enough. Sorry, I didn't mean to go back there. So I don't think unlocking War at around level 35 is a bad problem. What I will say is there is another gate on Alliance War, and that is your alliance level. Now, you can't actually access Alliance War unless your alliance level is 20. So we're now 24. We got to level 20 around 80,000, I want to say. It was around 80 or 90,000 points. Each individual alliance member, I believe, so they get 60 experience for doing the 10k donation. And then I want to say they get 200 or so experience just from the daily objective, which I can't claim right now because I already claimed it. Anyway, you're only looking at getting around 300 experience. I think it's around 300 experience a day per player. Now, that's not a problem in this alliance because this alliance is run by me and I'm a content creator and I have made sure that we have a super duper active early game alliance. Like, everyone is being logging in. If they don't log in for 3 days, they get the boot. You see, these guys are at 1 day. I'm sure they're going to log in before that because I have a wait list. And we're holding people accountable, making sure they donated, making sure we can get War open, making sure they're doing at least getting us up to 50% raids. No early game alliance is going to be run like this one, or is going to be manned by people who are mid-game players. There's a bunch of mid-game players in here who jumped in, and a bunch of end-game players who made a new account, just so that we could all play together. No alliance is going to be like this in the early game. Like, you're better off finding a different alliance just so you can activate Alliance War. But when you do that, and Mobile Gamer's wife, Squid Princess, felt this experience, you get into an alliance that is already doing Alliance War, but they do not have the same kind of trophies we have because we did it the natural way. Instead, she's in, like, gold or she's in platinum, and she's getting a lot more rewards for that. But she can't touch a single enemy team. There's no shield defenses that she's facing. She's looking at 300, 400, 500k defense teams that would be the exact same size as her highest team possible at this point. Like, it's a horrible, horrible gaming experience. So new players, new alliances, they need to be populated. They need to be joining into the ranks of War and then climbing up the natural way, not just dropping yourself into an alliance and getting carried. First, it's never fun to get carried. You don't have fun during a game getting carried. You certainly don't learn the game getting carried. You are absolutely being dropped into an environment that you will have no idea what you're doing in that case. So that blue conversation we had, the blue gear conversation, like, this goes completely against that. So I think that those gates, those leveling gates, are really bad for the game. I just unlocked Crucible. We need to be level 60 for that. The epic campaigns you unlock behind 65. I mean, that's fine because, I mean, you need 6-star characters anyway. By the time I hit 65, I may have a bunch of 6-star characters to do DD1. But for Dark Dimension 2, you need to be level 70 to even have Gear Tier 17. So that gate is fine. That one makes sense. I think Alliance War should unlock at around account level 30. Cosmic Crucible should unlock around maybe account level 50, maybe 45, kind of like when you're just about to start getting into events. Because again, in Cosmic Crucible, you're going to be facing against these like hand teams. Now these hand teams are around 20k. I threw in my Black Widow for fun there, I guess. But by the time I was, account level 40, I would definitely be able to take these out with multiple teams. Like I'd have my Nightcrawler, my Gambit could go in and solo this. Then I would have another one where I send in Void Knight, Venom, and Carnage, and they can get through it. So just like War, now it's not going to be the most interesting matches ever because you're just going to be facing these base teams. But then you're going to be getting the rewards where you can start activating the stores and having fun and exploring things that way before you're dropped into the Piranha's Den where you're actually facing off against real people. So I think that is an absolute gate that needs to be removed as well. Then there's the real-time arena gate. Now, real-time arena, no one wants to play it, but you don't unlock the battle pass until you unlock real-time arena. So in the strike pass, I don't even remember where you get the strike pass. I think you get it super early because this is where I was able to unlock Nightcrawler. But you get a lot of goodies here and you get characters here. The battle pass being locked behind account level, 64, that is far too late. The latest that should unlock is when the events unlock. Events don't unlock until account level 50 either. Like it's really, really late into the game at that point. You're probably around 2 weeks in at that point and you haven't seen a single event. That's really bad timing. Now, the GM was mentioning that he was trying to find ways to make permanent events for new players that would kind of trigger on an account level gain. So like you hit level 30 and it activates the Hindline Showcase, or you hit level 40, it activates the Extreme Showcase. So you get all those mutant characters. You get like 2 or 3 weeks where you're farming that easy to get gear, which by the way is clearly another place they could put a blue gear. There's so many places they go. I'm sorry, I'm gonna keep harping back on it, but this story mode starts with purple gear. The last story mode started with orange gear. There's how many nodes are there? There's 16 nodes here. Why don't we have 4 or 5 of the first nodes dedicated to blue gear where people can farm it at a huge rate? Like you can farm 80 freaking pieces per node here. Like I just got 80 purple health catalysts. Why can't I get 80 blue health catalysts doing this? It's just so stupid. I'm sorry. Moving on. The gates suck on the modes. They're looking to fix it. They're looking at how to shake it up without overwhelming people. What I will say is because the Alliance level gate, I unlocked Alliance War, and then 3 days later I unlocked Cosmic Crucible because we did it the normal way. So we ended up unlocking 2 modes back to back in about 10 or 11 days. We'll unlock epic campaigns at the same time. So if you're playing the game naturally with a super engaged Alliance, you're going to unlock all 4 of these modes, these event things, all around the same time, which is why Alliance War really should be around account level 30. Cosmic Crucible should probably be just around account level 40, 42, something like that. Epic campaigns can stay, and real-time arena should be unlocked around probably Alliance or account level 50. I don't know, I'd be interested to know your guys' feelings on that. Sorry, I kind of ranted on that one for 8 minutes, trying to not make this video too long. Let's move on over to the next conversation. All right, so store clutter. Now, there are a lot of stores with a lot of characters in it, and some of the price tags don't make sense. Good news is they did changes to stores before. If you remember the Arena store, they made it so that the cost changed. In fact, let's just go over to the game and we'll look at it real quick. So they did do changes to the Arena store and to the Blitz store where the newest characters cost around $9.75 and they give you 5 shards. And the older the characters get, the better they get. So now they cost 500 for 5 shards. In the third row, they cost 500 for 10 shards. And that's kind of where it stays until you get to the very, very bottom. And some of the characters there, I think it's just the minions. No, they're still worth 500. So they're looking at making some changes here. I think they need to double down on that particular change. Like the characters down here, you should probably get 20, maybe even 30 shards for 500 arena credits. Arena credits are not easy to come by in the early game. In the Blitz store, they did something similar. So 5 character shards for $9.75, then 5 character shards for $500. And then it does drop down lower here, I believe, for the minions. Nope, I lied. Still 500 for 10. So they're looking at making some changes there. I think the biggest stores that are the most problematic are the stores like the Raid store. So if you see here, There are a lot of characters in here, but because these are not static stories and they fluctuate with who's in it, when they're in it, and how much of them is in it, it's an absolute mess for new players to try and navigate. Hopefully they try and make this static, and they could just maybe have all the gear at the top and then all the character shards at the bottom or something to that effect. Just so that the characters are always available. Like, there's Cyclops in this. I think Bucky's in this. Yeah, Icarus is here. Cloak is here. Loki's in here. Yeah, Loki's there. Mysterio's in here. So there's a lot of good characters in here, but new players don't know it, and sometimes the price doesn't really make sense. Like, the fact that Ronan the Accuser has, and Multiple Man for that matter, have the same price as Loki and Bucky Barnes and Moonstone and Mysterio and Namor, being that Mysterio and Namor are getting reworks, doesn't make sense. And in fact, because Namor and Mysterio are getting reworks, they should cost a lot less too. So this store absolutely needs to be overhauled. Same with the War Store. And the War Store, I think, is particularly egregious because somebody like Carnage, who yes just got reworked, but he's like a year 1 character. You should probably be getting 20 shards from him for 1,000 war credits so that you can focus on building him up, but also unlocking a character like Ironheart, who I'm going to buy right now, actually. Start getting that Pegasus team unlocked. This is something that they absolutely need to change. The War Store currency, when you're doing it the natural way, is bad. Even when you're not doing the natural way, if you're not getting those knockout points, you are missing a huge chunk of those. So they are looking at making some store changes for the better. I'm excited for that. If they do what they did last time, but to all stores and just like a heavier hand in doing it, it's going to be a big win. Now, I have no problem with them leaving the newest characters very expensive so that they can work their economy. But, you know, like 3-4 months into them being farmable, double up what they give kind of thing. Just stay true to that Yellow Star experience, which they have done a really good job on, by the way. Anyway, let's move on to the next slide. This one will be quick at least. Early game save squads. Now, save squads, they've kind of addressed it for the late game player, which they did in a really good way. I like the way they did it. But early game save squads is a nightmare, especially when we have blitz events like we just had for Void Knight. I didn't have Sim Blitz unlocked, which it doesn't unlock until 60. I think Sim Blitz could also unlock around 50. But that's a whole other conversation. I had to go through these manually, and then I had to make extra teams on top of the 15 to be able to unlock Void Knight as a mid-game player. That's not going to be the case for someone who's not a try-hard and very knowledgeable about how blitz events work. Like, that's unfair. And honestly, as a new player, when there's a character that comes out, like when I started playing Disney's Sorcerer Arena or Lord of the Rings, and I would see like, well, not Lord of the Rings, because that game just sucked. That's why I died. But I would say like, hey, a new character's coming out. I've been playing for like 2-3 months. Am I going to be able to unlock this character? And the answer is no. That feels bad. And part of the issue for Marvel Strike Force that can come with is the save squad. So changes are already planned for nearly all stores. That's not the right information. No, what that should say is that this is a fairly easy fix that they are going to try and put some resources in. So the save squads thing is apparently something they can fix. Now, this is all subject to change. Maybe they're going to find that there is something very difficult to manipulate in the code to do that. Maybe they won't have the resources because they're working on a lot of really cool things like Battle World, like whatever the Easter egg that Ryan was tipping on in the Strike Force Strike Time video. But hopefully this is on their radar. I think this affects players up until, level 71, where I think you get a little bit of an influx of save squads. Still not enough. It's when you hit, level... I think it's when you start maxing out characters, maxing out the amount of characters you own. When you start having every single new character that drops, you start getting a save squad for every 5 characters. That's going to take a long time to get to. That's kind of a bad experience. Like, if we were to go in game right now, I'm locked with having 15. If I were to try and make a new save squad right now, you'll see, I just can't. We're trying to save a squad. I just can't. 15 save squads is not enough. This is probably the reason why me, as even a player that cares, even with having Blitz Sim right now, I'm just not caring about this event right here, the Quick Rumble, because I don't have Heroes for Hires at any kind of meaningful stars. If I were to just get in there and auto my 25 teams I had 8 times a day for the 2 days, I could probably get pretty far in this event. But because I only have 15 squads, there's a lot of manual team select in there that I can't be bothered to do. So I'll be missing out on a lot of these X batteries and stuff like that. And then for new mid-game players, before they hit that 71 mark, all of a sudden they're not completing this monthly event. They feel bad. They walk away. I don't think that's good game design either. Now let's go talk about tokens, which is probably what a lot of people are here to hear about. All right, so in this meeting, tokens is something we did not expect to hear about. We thought we were just going to be talking about early game experiences, and this was dropped on us. This seems like an interesting idea. It could be the solution to a lot of our problems, and the solution to a lot of endgame players' problems when reworked characters come out. So what is a token? A token is going to basically be kind of like a reward you would get in like the diamonds or red stars at the end of a milestone, where you would open it and it would upgrade your character. However, it wouldn't upgrade your red stars or your diamonds on a character. It would instead give you X amount of shards on the character, plus put some T4s on the character, depending on what kind of milestone it's for. Put them at a certain gear tier, put them at a certain level, so you save on gold and training materials, and then you have that character. There was talks of maybe you're a level 25 account, but in this event you can get a token for a Spider-Man that's going to be level 60, and he's going to have purple gear, and he's going to have, 6664 on his abilities. So tokens could be a cool way for some reworked characters to be a lot less painful, especially in that T4 department. Now, we didn't mince words. Like, this is obviously something that they would put in offers for new Krakens and new whales coming up, but he said it would not be spender only. There would be milestones, the permanent new player events I hinted on earlier in the video. They would probably do some stuff in there. There would be other sources as well, maybe like polls and stuff when they would give a character token to everybody, maybe promo codes, whatever the case may be. These tokens are something they're trying to lean into. So yeah, you would get a character immediately at a predetermined build, both for gear, level, star level, maybe even ISO to help you get into those raids faster. So tokens seem like they could be a really cool idea if implemented correctly. If it's 90% offers and one scattered in an event here or there, then I think it's a failure in the player community, but probably a winner in the spender community, because when the hive mind hit, if you were a spender that started, last year, maybe you're up to date because you've been spending big bucks, but your Carnage and Venom are not built up. They have no T4s. They have no gear, no ISO, no anything. Well, now they can sell you a token that'll give you a level 70 Carnage with all of his T4s on. Depending on the price of that, maybe that'll actually be a good thing even for medium spenders that are new to the game. I don't know. I'd be interested to know your feelings on tokens and what that's going to mean for the game. I know a lot of you are going to be very jaded and just be like, oh, this is just for them to make money. But he did say very specifically when I pressed him on it, this is not going to be spender only. So that alone makes me somewhat excited about it. And the idea that it could help you maybe bypass content and push through content faster, I think will be interesting. But yeah, that's going to wrap up this video, guys. I'd like to know what you think about hearing what you heard about from that meeting. Because they let me talk about everything. They didn't say anything was under embargo. So that's great. How do you feel about the save squads, the gating of levels, both on your account and on your alliance levels? The blue gear problem is huge. We talked about it a lot in this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you were able to digest it all. And I hope this finds you well on this Sunday morning. Take care, or if you're watching it Monday, I hope this just finds you well no matter what day it is. Let's end this video. All right, so take care, have fun, stay happy, healthy, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye for now. That's it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Stay happy, healthy, have fun, and I'll see you in the next one.